Hello, my name is Roguelike and welcome to this handy dandy little guide on how to survive up until Golgotha in Caves of Qud. Golgotha is kind of the first great filter in the game, and I get a lot of questions with people who are unsure what direction to take or what to do in the early game, so that's what we're going to talk about today. I recommend that you play on roleplay mode, which allows you to save at checkpoints. I'm going to play classic mode, which is a permadeath mode. I'm not going to go too much into character creation here. I recommend that you maybe experiment and find what works for you. For the sake of this video, I will be picking a preset which you may want to try out if you're new to the game. I'm going to play a mutant because I like mutants. And as it says here, this is the most survivable starting build, at least from the presets. This is a marsh tour. Now, for the sake of this video, I do want you to start in JOPPA. I think this is definitely the, as you see here, it says recommended for new players. This is the kind of canonical start of the game. These are all randomly generated, but this one is always the same. So let's start in JOPPA. Okay, we embark for the Caves of Qud. Here we are. So, first thing you want to do upon spawning in is firstly just take a look at your character. You can see here we have multiple legs. Pretty nice build, honestly. Multiple legs is really handy for survivability. We also start with axe skill. First things first, let's speak with this guy here. This is a Mechanimist convert, and the reason you want to speak to him is you want to select option 1 here and ask him about the 6-day stilt, and then tell them I will make the journey. And this is going to give you 1500 additional XP later on once we make it to the stilt, which is the first in-game city. Okay, and then secondly you want to talk to Mehmet here. You may want to do the water ritual with him. I'm not going to, for the sake of this video. You say I'm in search of work, and then you accept the quest. He wants us to go to a place called Red Rock. And then we'll also go over here and speak with this guy here who's called Argive. He's going to tell you about a cave which we can go to, and he wants us to find a knickknack, which is basically just a piece of technology. I then recommend that you auto-explore around JOPPA. You can sometimes get very lucky and find some cool stuff, as well as grab a little bit of Sultan lore there for Reshef. I also recommend you go just north of JOPPA here and look at this statue. This will give you the location of your first historic site. There we go. Now, before you leave, let's take a look at our quest log real quick. Now, you see we already have 3 quests that we've picked up. We have the pilgrimage quest. We have what's eating the water vine, which is the quest we got from Mehmet. And then we have the knickknack quest. A lot of people do this first. Do not do this quest first. You will die very quickly. So let's try and do the knickknack quest. So let's go down into this cave. And let's see what we can find. We immediately get attacked by a spider. There you go. There's a weird artifact. This is technically a knickknack. So let's grab that. Also have some nice leather armor, which I'm going to equip. Okay, we broke the artifact. Don't worry about that. Pick it up anyway. There's our first knickknack dealt with. There is another artifact. Now, I am grabbing an additional artifact here. Some kind of rifle. It's a pump shotgun. Lovely jubbly. That's pretty handy. You can equip that if you choose. We are going to need a second knickknack though for this quest, so I'm going to grab it. Now that we have 2 knickknacks, I'm actually going to leave here. You can come back down here. There are some pretty nice pieces of loot down here. Centipedes are really annoying enemy early game. So let's go speak to Argive. We'll give him this broken artifact here. There we go. Level up. Now he wants an additional artifact, which is why I grabbed another one. Let's give him a second artifact. Boom. Okay, now he wants us to go and fetch a bunch of wire. Let's take a look at that in our quest log. 200 feet in the Rust Wells east of JOPPA. Okay, so we start here. JOPPA is here. Red Rock is here. And the Rust Wells are here. So everything's very close by. This is the historic site that we picked up from the north of JOPPA. And up here, we have the STILT, which is the first kind of city, I guess you could call it. Let's go to the Rust Wells. Okay, it is nighttime. You may want to wait until morning. You can do that by opening your wait menu and then pressing G. Now there are baboons, it appears, throwing rocks at me, so we're going to want to stop waiting. We don't want to get ganked by baboons, that'd be very embarrassing. Okay, so as you can see, there is some wire on the floor there. Again, if you hold down Alt, the Alt key, that will be highlighted for you. Okay, so what happened there is my bronze battle axe just rusted. You can see it's now been unequipped and it's no longer in our hand, and that's very bad because that means we do not have a melee weapon equipped right now. And we cannot repair this, we don't have the means to, so we're now looking to grab an additional weapon. And we're going to grab ourselves, hopefully, an axe from Tam. You do have an axe. You have an iron battle axe here. I would very much like that. Thank you. Let's go back to the Rust Wells here and go downstairs. Okay, so here we go. We are now done with all of this wire collecting business. So let's get the heck out of here. Right, back to JOPPA we go. Let's go speak to Argive. You can press backspace here to bring up that menu. Take the wire. Okay, he's given us our first recoiler. That's going to allow us to jump back to this point as long as there are no enemies around and as long as we have battery charge. We also leveled up there. Oh wait, no, he's going to do his little thing here. He's going to power up this receiver. Okay. Speak to him again. Okay. Now, he's picking up a transmission. He's going to tell us to seek out Barathrum the Old. Who are these Barathramites? And he's telling you now you have to go to a place called Gritgate. I accept the task. Okay, you can see now, go to Gritgate. We're only level 6, we don't want to go there yet, we're going to get absolutely destroyed. We do, however, have the quest that we picked up from Mehmet earlier on, to go to Red Rock. Okay, so Red Rock is just north. We're going to take the traditional route. There is also an underground tunnel that leads from JOPPA to Red Rock. I'm not going to get into it in this video, but we're going to just go overground here. We're going to fight our way down. Now, quite often, you're going to have baboons here. Tend to be big groups of them, so don't be afraid to run away and use your ranged weapons. Okay, so here we've seen our very first legendary enemy. And you'll know they're legendary because they'll normally show up with a kind of magenta hue like this guy. And they'll also have reputation. You can see that this one is disliked by a village for eating one of their young. Interesting. Now these guys are obviously more powerful than your average Snapjaw. So we're going to want to try and focus them down a little bit. They can also have some pretty decent gear. This one has ring mail and some kind of artifact. We did dismember them. Let's take a step back here. Maybe fire our shotgun their way. Like that. Keep moving. Taking advantage of our higher movement speed here. We do also have the ability to teleport if we get surrounded. Now, there is a bear coming from behind me, so I'm going to use my teleport. I'm just going to teleport randomly somewhere over here. And then I'm going to take this time to heal up a little bit. He has found me again. That's fine. Let's hit him with a freeze ray, and he's done. There we go. So we are now 4 strata deep, and you will get this pop-up. Find the vermin. And that's because we've seen the Gershling. So this is what we came here to find. So we're going to kill this, hopefully without too much of a fuss. Okay, there they go. Now there is another one here, so we'll deal with this guy first. Nice, they just got impaled. Love it when that happens. These guys can be pretty rough. Okay. Now you're going to want to stand over the corpse, press G to pick it up. There we go, we get another pop-up telling us that we're basically done here. You can continue to explore. I'm going to go back to JOPPA now. Okay, we are back. Now if we take a look at our quest log, you can see return with the corpse. Now you don't speak to Mehmet, you speak to the Elder, which is this guy up here, Elder Iridad. This quest has no bearing on the story. This is a self-contained quest. But we do want to do it anyway because we're going to get some pretty nice rewards from it. There's a bunch of lore here as well. We're going to complete this quest. And you can see we get an Uber Nostrum injector, salve injector, and a weird artifact. The reason we like to do this quest is because the Uber Nostrum injector is very valuable. Not only monetarily, but also in what it can do. This will basically allow us to regrow a limb. Which is pretty important, I'd say. We can now drop the corpse as well. There we go. So if we take a look now at our quest journal, we'll see we have this here, 6-day stilt. We have the Buar here, which is the historic site that we found. And we have Gritgate. Now Gritgate, we are not ready to do that yet. That's going to be in the jungle. Before we do that, we're going to head to the 6-day stilt. So let's take a look at where that is. This is quite a way to go, so you're going to want to make sure you have enough water for this. Go to the world map. And we are here, and the stilt is all the way up here. It's quite a trek. Okay, and we are here. Let's go. And there's the 1500 XP, which we gained from speaking to the Mechanimist at the very beginning there. Little bonus for us there. Right, now we are here. First thing you might want to do is go into this tent, take a look at this statue. That's more Reshef lore, and then you can speak to this guy here called Zappa. He's very interested in Reshef lore, and he will give you XP in exchange. How does he do that? I don't know. Anyway, we have this character here. This is Sheba. Sheba is randomly generated every playthrough. They won't always be a dog. They may be something else. And if we had books in our inventory, which we currently don't, you can speak to her and she will exchange your books for XP. Another quick tip here is you're going to want to speak to Luli and say that you're looking for work. And then she's going to ask you to go to a place called Bela. And once you accept the quest, you're going to get a Yonder Cane, which is basically a single-use free teleport. It's very, very powerful item. It can get you out of some real sticky situations. I'm going to continue looking around the stilt here. Okay, we've been fairly lucky so far. We actually have a bookbinder here. This is going to be a NPC you're going to want to look out for. Hopefully you get one. They're not always guaranteed. More often than not, you won't have them. They sell books, which can be very useful. And there's also, if we go down into the southeast most corner of the stilt, you're always going to have a Gutsmonger and an Ichor Merchant here. If you're playing as a Truekin, this is going to be who you're going to buy your Cybernetics from. And the Ichor Merchant sells kind of exotic liquids, which can be pretty useful. And again, when you look through that inventory, if you see anything painted, you're going to want to look at that because it's going to give you some lore like that. Okay, so now we have the STILT explored. We are still not high enough level for us to go over to Gritgate. So what do we do in the meantime? Our first historic site. Ooh, here we are. Let's see what we get. Okay, we've got dragonflies and goats. Okay, I'm gonna take out the enemies here, and I'll see you downstairs. Okay, so we found our first books here. This is excellent. Those are going to be pretty valuable for leveling up. And make sure you grab every book you can. Let's see if there are any more around here. Some very annoying enemies. Have some gloves here. Okay, doesn't look like there's any more books, so let's keep fighting down until we get to the relic chest. Okay, so we found our relic chest. You know it's a relic chest because it will be magenta colored again. Let's see what we have. We have a legendary book. Okay, these normally will teach you a skill for free. This one teaches us surefire, but the reason we like this is because we can trade this in for a bunch of XP. So I'll grab that. And I'll grab this. Now, we are level 10. That's still not really high enough for what I would recommend going into Gritgate with. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another journey over to the STILT. And we're going to trade in the books that I've picked up along the way here. Which is... how many books do we have? We have 11. It's not a lot, but this one will be worth quite a bit. Let's see how much we get for this. Okay, so here we are. Let's see how much XP we can trade these in for. We're going to chat, we're going to say yes, give books. Now, the legendary book here obviously is worth more. There is a way to clone these later on in the game, so you may want to keep hold of it. I'm gonna sell mine. Here we go. Level 11, level 12. We leveled up twice there from doing that. That's pretty nice. But now, let's take a look at our quest log. We didn't have much. We do have the Balar quest. You can do that if you want. But this is our main quest. We are level 12. Now that is roughly around where I like to go between 12 and 15. So I think we're about ready to head over there. Before we go, why don't we level up where we can. Increase our legs. Increase our freeze ray. Okay, so here we are. This here is Gritgate on the map. Let's step in and see what we see. Okay, so now you're going to encounter a lot of scary enemies here at Gritgate, but if you take your time and don't get surrounded... I'm not in melee combat, there we go. Take your time, don't get surrounded, make sure you always have a way out. The droids will help you out a little bit. And of course, as always, make sure you're not famished. There we go. Right, let's fight our way down as usual, and I'll see you once we hit Gritgate. Okay, so here we see a slug snout. These will end a lot of your runs early if you're not careful. They are going to shoot you with pretty pinpoint accuracy. So you want to try and close the distance as quickly as possible or find cover. For example, we could hide around this corner here. We do have freeze ray, so we're going to hit him with that and hope that it froze him. There we go. And our robot friend helped us out there. Just be aware of those guys. Likewise, these segmented mirthworm, they tend to spawn in huge groups, so just try and keep on top of them. I recommend always camping the stairs here in case you need to go upstairs to get away from the action. Normally you'll only have one, maybe two guys follow you out, but that'll be it. Okay, so we've now made our way down to 3 strata deep in Gritgate, and you'll notice there is this tunnel heading north, and that is Gritgate itself. So let's head up here, and there we go. We're going to go to this intercom here, and we're going to say, I come from JOPPA, I bring a message from Argive. We're going to put the disc in the tray there, and he's going to tell us you need to go to a place called Golgotha, I have a tutorial on Golgotha, which I will link below. And we're going to want to find a dysfunctional way droid. And there we go. And you can also speak again to say you require entrance for purpose of trade. And that's going to allow you to go down here and speak with Maffeo. Maffeo has some pretty good stuff. Namely, a whole bunch of lead slugs here, which are really, really useful. The odd trinket will be a recoiler to Gritgate. I recommend buying this. This one is engraved, which means it is slightly more expensive than it would normally be. And there's also basically a pickaxe, which is free, essentially. So I recommend grabbing those. And then you're going to want to come back up to the surface here. Take this guy out along the way. And then you're going to want to head up to Golgotha, which is here. However, you're not going to want to do it just yet because you are underleveled. I recommend going there if you're new to the game. You might want to leave it till around level 18 to 20 to go there, because there's some pretty nasty stuff in Golgotha. You can definitely do it earlier depending on your build, but you might want to leave it until that point. Anyway, this is where I'm going to leave this video. Hopefully this has helped some of the newer players on the general early game progression. Starting in JOPPA, going to the Rust Wells and doing Red Rock, then visiting the Stilt, doing your first historic site, heading to Gritgate. Let me know if you enjoyed this video by leaving a like. I appreciate it immensely. My name has been Roguelike. Thank you very much for watching. Take it easy.